Well, hey all, and welcome back. Yet again, I have another Optimus Prime review for you all. This is Yolopark's AMK Pro Series, Optimus Prime. This is sort of a model kit action figure I've been dying to check out, and I got mine from the show's e-store. I'll put a link in the description below where you can get your own. Before we dive in, let's go ahead and jump into the packaging. We have this nice, very comic book reminiscent illustration of Optimus Prime. We have some nice shiny stickers on here. We have the 40 years Transformers, as well as some comic book-like graphics in the background. On the side, we have some semi-matte printing with some very glossy text overprinted on top of it. That is very nice. On the back, we have a breakdown of how it assembles. Like I said, it's kind of a model kit, but it's not going to be overly complicated, so it's going to go pretty quick. And then the side. And what's nice about this is it actually has a sleeve with another package design, and I actually prefer this one. We have a nice foil printing of Optimus Prime on top of this black package. I think this is really cool. And we continue the motif on the side. Look at this nice color kind of change going on with the Transformers, almost like how titanium finish has. And the back is fairly basic, but it gets the point across. And this continues the illustration from the front. So let's go ahead and get this guy out of the packaging and see if it's worthy of our collection. And inside the packaging, we have a after sales card, which is pretty handy, especially if they do provide good customer service. And then we have the booklet with a nice photo on the front, Autobot logo on the back, and as well as instructions on how to put together our Prime. Inside, you can see how they've packed the pieces of Optimus Prime. Here you can see all the body parts splayed out. And here we have the accessories with the weapons and stands. And here we have Optimus Prime fully assembled, and this is something to behold. This is glorious. This has come straight out of the screen or out of the comics and into my hands, and I am loving the look of this. But before we dive too much into aesthetics, I want to go ahead and cover the accessories. Now, first up here, we have an Energon axe. And it is fairly basic. We have a little ball joint here, and the hand just pops out like so. A little bit of wiggling, and we can wiggle this back in. It actually pops in easier than it comes out. And there we have him with his Energon axe. Has a little bit of articulation, but it mostly kind of just sags because it could be a little tighter. That's something that you could remedy on your own. However, I am more of a rifle person. And that being said, we have an excellent ion blaster here. Has little portions on the side where you can attach it to the hand. We have the clip. We have all the little elements here that tie back to the animation model. This rifle also has a feature where we can tap him on the head to get lights. However, I have removed my LED unit because I can't seem to get it working. I don't know if the new batteries I bought are defective or if this is. So I will be reaching out to support with that card that I mentioned. However, his eyes should illuminate. We also have a Megatron blaster here for him to hold, which is a nice add-on that we've grown to expect to come with our Optimus Primes. And lastly, we have a lovely little matrix here, which is nicely detailed. We have blue, we have some gold and silver, and a little bit of translucent blue plastic. You can let the light shine through, you can see how it has a little bit of glow. That probably could use some LED as well. However, I'm okay with that. So to open this, I want to show you a little trick. We do have a slot on each side, which does make it a little tricky, so you have to pull them both at the same time, and requires a decent bit of force. We have a lovely interior painted chest panel. Could probably use a little bit of color in there, maybe some lights. However, I think it's fine as is. What really spruces it up is our matrix here. We just make sure we have this portion up, and we just pop it in like so. And that is a glorious display there. I think it is a good assortment of accessories, especially for the price point. I'm pretty happy with what it comes with, and I think they did an overall great job on all the details for each of those items. Now, before closing the chest panel, I want to cover articulation. And this guy has just enough to where you can have him posed holding open the chest plate. I think that is pretty awesome. That is just great. The only thing that I feel that is lacking is the fact that we do have an ab crunch here, and you can see where it collides there. It's not a massive one, but we do have one. But we could use a back articulation, which sadly, there's just not room for it. But I feel like when you have him in this pose, having him as arch backwards would probably be most appropriate. However, this really does get the point across. Now let's go ahead and check out the rest of the articulation. So here over the shoulder, we have full 360. We have rotation with the joint inside the shoulder. We have rotation of the bicep. We have a double jointed elbow, which is just great. We have ball joint at the wrist, so that leads for full rotation and a little bit of waggle. We have a thumb joint that is articulated with a ball at the palm. All fingers will fold in. However, we do have trigger finger articulation, so you can separate that. Some people might like more detailed hands. However, I think this is sufficient. Thumb pops out, but it's not something that's happened to me too often. And you can see here we have the groove where we can hold the weapon. Blaster goes in like so, and it actually holds it pretty secure. Haven't even done the fingers yet. And there we go. I think that's pretty good. We would have had the nice LED eyes, which would have really, I think, made this stand out more. However, I'll just have to show you as is. So we have a nice look up. Down, not so much. You can kind of mess with the neck some, but you're not going to get a whole lot just because of the chin design, but you get a little bit. Full rotation, you can look around. We have rotation at the waist. As you can see, we have a little bit of an ab crunch, which is just a nice touch. And in each arm, we also have a communicator. In the past, we've been used to having a little image there, but this is kind of a change from that. We have skirts that are on a ball joint all the way around. These are on a hinge, and this is on a joint as well, that allows you to get the legs in a multitude of poses. We have a kind of a special joint down here that will allow you to get the leg low, so you can really get an outward kick. Look at that perspective there. And so it gives you a lot more range in that posability. We have rotation that is pretty well hidden at the upper hip. Of course, the more you get that pulled out, the more exposed it will be. But I can still appreciate its inclusion. Then at the knee, we have a nice double joint here that can go all the way up to there. And then the ankle, we have left and right rotation. So this also can be worked out some. Toe movement, whole foot could come in. I feel like it's kind of difficult to get a good articulated foot because of the way that this is designed, especially if you compare this to the Red Series. However, even just as is, even with as well ranged this is, with a little bit of movement hindrance, overall, in my opinion, it's still really great. Now, to help with that articulation, we have one more accessory I want to go over, and that is this stand. It has lots of nice molding, good detail. We have some pegs here for extra stands. We have some links here so we can lock all the stands together, and we have an arm. Now, what I will say about the stand, we have a claw in here. This is more of like an older doll stand, and it will hold on there and it will link on, and it does a fine job. However, you're going to see it. So this is a pretty common thing that's done. I don't love it. And that is largely because I would rather have, say, this part come off and then we can link into here. And to me, that would be a better stand. But I'm not going to gripe too much because it's included. And for the price point, it's hard to beat. Let's go ahead and compare them with a few other bots. Here we have the missing link Optimus Prime. Here's the New Age David. Here's the Walmart exclusive Siege animation colors. The red Optimus Prime action figure. And the Magic Square Masterpiece Optimus Prime. You can really see between all these how this definitely nails the animation proportions better than I think anything else can. That is the kind of the give and take with having transformation. It can be really difficult to get the best of both worlds. So I want to tie the aesthetic into my final thoughts because there's really not a lot to say. If you love G1 Optimus Prime from the cartoons, this is the robot. This has the look. This is the best thing you can get next to having a statue, and so many iterations of this have never really nailed it. Even the MP44, while having some of the best proportions, is a little lacking because of build quality and price, among other little issues here and there with seam lines and stuff. The one thing that really stands out about the paint job, if you'd seen the original prototypes, they'd actually gone overboard with battle damage, but I think they dialed it back just enough to where he looks alive, he's had his experiences, but it doesn't distract too much from the overall design. But for me, this is something that is going to have a special place in my collection, and I do think it's going to be up there for things I collected this year. It's got great articulation, it's got a great look, it has die cast, which is just hard to beat. And other than me sorting out the LED gimmick, which hopefully it is not an issue of the toy, it's just an issue of the batteries, we'll have yet to see. But I'll post a link in the comments below where you can get yours at Show's eStore. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you all next time.